Hey guys, 2013 is almost over, so I've just decided to compile a list of my top favourite books of 2013, funnily enough. And I'm going to start off with Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. This was just an absolute breath of fresh air. It is totally not what I expected it to be. I had not actually read a synopsis before I actually read this, so I was taken completely by surprise, as for some odd reason I actually thought that this book was going to be about farms. I don't know why, I think I just read rye in the title and thought that it was going to be about farms. It's anything but farms. It's basically about a boy called Holden Colesfield, and he is residing in a boarding school, which he is actually flunking, and because of the fact he is flunking, he has been thrown out because this private school is top notch and they can't accept anything but the best, so he's been thrown out. Now, he's been told this just before they break up for the Christmas holidays, so as soon as he goes back for Christmas holidays, that's it, he's not allowed back at the school. But he decides to just run away straight before that, and before the school have had a chance to send his parents a letter to say that he is flunked, and he just lives life with about $100 and nowhere to go. I thought that it was an absolutely wonderful read. It's one of those contemporaries that really hits you, and I found it surprisingly quite funny, some of the things that Holden actually comes out with. He's got observational humour basically, but I don't think he realises that what he says is funny, and it's funny because of the naivety. I found the dialogue to be absolutely stellar, and it was so funny to read, and it's lovely to see the banter between two different characters and how they bounce off of each other, and just meeting new characters really, because Holden was just meeting a range of different quirky characters. That was a special book. Next is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This was stunning, absolutely stunning. It was one of the most magical books that I've ever read. It's one of those books that when you finish it, you can't stop thinking about it. Like the characters and the magic that happened, like literal magic that happened. It's basically about a travelling circus. It revolves around two main characters, Celia and Marco, and they are being trained by two separate magicians to have some sort of fight as such, like a metaphorical fight in the magician's world where the circus is their fighting area as such, but they don't fight physically and they don't like throw magic at each other and things like that. It's more subtle. It's about gaining the upper hand and creating the circus and keeping it lifted up and things like that. It was one of those books that once I started, I couldn't stop. I literally wanted to read it every second of the day, and when I wasn't reading it, when I had to do other things like work, I was just constantly thinking about it, and as soon as I finished the book, I just wanted it to carry on. It was just absolutely wonderful, and the descriptions and I absolutely loved it, and yeah. Next is The Host by Stephanie Meyer. It's about a soul who likes to be called Wanderer because of the fact that she's gone to many different bodies all around the world in different planets and species and things like that, and she gets put into her most challenging subject yet, which is Melanie. Now, Melanie has the urge to find Jared, who is the one that she loves. Wanderer starts to feel these urges too, and they go off in search of him. I remember the first time I read it, I didn't actually understand a word that was going on, and I had to reread the first chapter about 5 times before I got it, and I got like about 75 pages in, and then I just gave up. But I'm so glad that I started it up again because it is absolutely brilliant. It's a very slow read and not much actually goes on. I like this book because of the fact that it revolves around the tension and what's not being said rather than the actual plot itself, because nothing really happens, and that's what's good about it. It's a refreshing read because of the fact that not much happens, and it actually focuses in on emotions rather than action and adventure and gunfights and things like that. Next we have Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card, and this was fantastic. I haven't seen the film adaptation of this, and I'm not even quite sure that I want to, because I don't want it to ruin this absolutely fantastic book. And also, I don't understand why it is part of a series as well, because this book is absolutely brilliant on its own and it ended perfectly. It's basically about a boy who likes to be called Ender, and he has been with this kind of space troop since he was about 6. He's been kind of like going up the ranks, and you see him going from like 6 to 16 slowly throughout the book, and he's learning different things. He has to be put with different people in different classes, and he has to learn to deal with different people as he's a loner. This book, like The Host, is another really slow book, but a lot does happen and a lot doesn't happen, and in my mind, if this was made into a film, there'd be a lot of kind of like training montages and things like that. It's one of those books that, because of the fact that it's slow, it lulls you into a false sense of security, and then suddenly the big plot twist comes and it's absolutely just blows your mind. Like, seriously, I did not see that plot twist coming whatsoever. I am personally one of those people that likes to predict things, and for me not to predict anything is a big deal to me. I can tend to tell what's going to happen in books, or at least have an idea, but throughout the book I didn't actually have any kind of clue what was going to happen, and when it happened I was like, whoa, that definitely caught me by surprise. It was just a subtle building up of tension that wasn't in your face. It was just always in the back of your mind that something was happening. Ah, I absolutely love it so much. Now, my top book for 2013, as many of you will probably guess, is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. It was absolutely incredible. Oh, just the best book that I've read in a very, very long time. This book is set a little way off in the future, and there is a virtual reality world called the Oasis, and you've got the real world, which is the one that we're living in at the moment, and then we've got the Oasis, which is the virtual reality world. But the main plot of Ready Player One is that James Halliday, the creator of the Oasis, has died, and he has left a quest for somebody to find the hidden Easter egg. Everyone is eligible to enter, and there are a series of clues that people have to find, and it leads them on to other clues, would eventually lead them to win the game, which would lead them to actually run the Oasis, as James Halliday is leaving the winner of this challenge in charge of running the Oasis. This book, as well as the amazing plotline, has an array of 80s references, and although I didn't necessarily get a lot of the 80s references, it also has a lot of gaming references, and I myself kind of am an alright gamer. I like to game every now and then, and I got the majority of the gaming references in this. It just made the geeky part of me smile, and I absolutely loved it because of that. It's one of those books that doesn't necessarily hit you on the plot level, but hits you in the way that this is something that could happen, because there are a lot of games online at the moment that people just get obsessed with, but I can see there being a virtual reality world sometime in the future, and it leads you to think, if that does happen, are we going to let the real world that we're actually living in at the moment deteriorate like it did in this book? Because I certainly wouldn't like that to happen. It was just a story of twists, turns, action, adventure, bad guys, good guys, plot twists, just, it was just everything in one simple book, and I'm always raving on about this book and how amazing it is. If you haven't read it, just please pick it up because it's absolutely fabulous. Just so that is it. Those are my top books of 2013. 2013 has been a year where I've really discovered my reading, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's been absolutely fantastic. This year has been absolutely wonderful for reading and finding new things. So yeah, let me know what your top books of 2013 were, and I will speak to you tomorrow. Bye!